This is Andy Gutierrez from StarWars.com, and you are listening to Coffee with Kenobi with Dan Z. This is the podcast you're looking for.
This is James Arnold Taylor, and you're listening to Coffee with Kenobi. I have a good feeling about this.
Hello, my friends, and welcome back to CWK Live every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm your host, Dan Zare, thrilled to be talking Star Wars with each and every one of you. Let's bring in our friends. As we say, happy Valentine's Day. It's great to see all of you. I totally miscalculated. I forgot that this Tuesday was Valentine's Day, so if you are joining me, thank you so much. I hope I didn't put too much of a crimp in your schedule, and I want to thank my amazing Valentine, Deanna Zare, my lovely wife, for being so cool about me not scheduling very, very well. It's great. It's great. It's great to see all of you. Let's bring in our friends. Greg is here. Hello, Greg. Great to see you, buddy. Greg McLaughlin is here, ready to rock and roll on this Valentine's Day. Terry is here. We need to give Terry King an extra special round of applause. So we're doing our push-up challenge. We did 45 push-ups today. Yesterday we did 44. The day before we did 43. You add one every single day. Terry is one of our people doing it. Terry got a picture of himself doing his push-up while being spotted by Lou Ferrigno, the Incredible Hulk, and that was so cool. Terry, you got us all fired up. It was great. Well done. Well done. Jason is here. Hello there. He says, Terry, you beat me to it. Henrik and I are ready to go. Great. Great to see you both. Daniel, it's CWK Live tonight, and great to see you. And Daniel said he already had a romantic dinner. Very good. We did too. We did that last Friday and had some exchanges of Valentine's this morning and had a great meal as well. Greg says, that's why you get flowers on the 13th. Exactly. I don't know if it's any cheaper, but yes, you are right. You are right. Happy Bad Batch Eve to you, Mary. Great to see you. And Terry says, Lou is a fantastic person too. I bet he was. I can't wait to talk to you about that on the Halcyon and hear the behind the scenes of how that all came to be. So on today's show, let's talk about today's show, shall we? We've got your top 5 moments from Star Wars The Bad Batch, The Clone Conspiracy, and Truth and Consequences. It is a 2-part episode, or rather, it is a 2-parter, 2 separate episodes. We're doing one top 5 for all of them. And of course, we got a little bit of Star Wars Celebration news, including some amazing appearances. So let's go ahead and take a look at what is brewing in the world of Star Wars this week. So on the show today, we're going to talk a little bit about Star Wars Celebration news. We're starting to get more and more announcements, and we're getting them more than once a week, which is really exciting. We found out that, of course, we've got Rosario Dawson who's going to be there, and that was announced just 6 days ago. And then we also found out about Billy D. Williams showing up. But the other day, we heard about Ewan McGregor. Obi-Wan Kenobi is going to be back at Celebration. Ian McDiarmid, the Emperor, who I'm sure we'll talk about tonight. And then Andy Serkis, Kino Loy, and also Snoke. He is going to be there too. What a great thing that is. Look who else is here. It is Brian Cameron. Good morning from the UK. Brian, you deserve a special round of applause. Great to see you, buddy. Brian is in the UK, so you are 6 hours from me. So it's about 1 in the morning. Does that sound right, Brian? So, wow. You must be a sleepy fellow, but we are glad that you are joining us. That is a real honor. All right. So those are the big guests that are going to be there. I didn't put a little fancy graphic for that, but Celebration is turning out to be fabulous as always. Really excited about that. What we're going to learn at Star Celebration and who everybody will get to see, meet, and hang out with. I know Brian is going to be at Star Celebration. Are any of you going to be at Star Celebration? If not, we'll do our best to bring you all the coverage that we possibly can. I'm still a game time decision, but we shall see what happens with the Force. All right, let's do it. Let's go into our top 5 now. There's so much to talk about. 2 spectacular, truly spectacular episodes. Of course, I'm talking about The Bad Batch's The Clone Conspiracy, and then the second part, Truth and Consequences. They both dropped on the same day. We got the first appearance of Bail Organa in The Bad Batch itself. A lot of great stuff to talk about. Mary's going to live vicariously through others. Mary, that is just fine. I may very well be doing the same thing. Hard to say. One thing I won't be doing vicariously is going on the Halcyon with many of our guests that we're watching tonight. That's right. You can join me on the Star Cruiser June 12th to the 14th. There are limited rooms available. And you can go to coffeewithkenobi.com/mousefantravel and let them know that you'd like to join us. Mention Dan's Air and Coffee with Kenobi. Say you're going on the cruise with us, and they will know exactly where and how to book you. But if you still are on the fence, we're getting closer. There's still a decent amount of time left, but they will give you a no cost, no obligation quote. It's a great way to really kind of navigate. Whoops. How do I do that? Okay. Daniel says, what an excellent duo we got with these 2 episodes. They are spectacular, aren't they? Well, let's just jump right into it, shall we? Number 5 is there's a moment when Wrecker has to go way up in the air, and Rex says something about isn't he better over this whole heights thing? Which, by the way, it's hard to get better at. Hunter, come on, buddy. But Hunter says to Rex, this is him getting better, and I got a chuckle out of that as someone who's not like heights either. I thought that was really kind of fun. So let's see. Greg's number 5. Omega's emotions when talking to the Kaminoan senator. She was showing anger over the destruction of the planet cities. A real show of emotion. Definitely. There's a lot of emotion in this entire episode. In both episodes, there's a huge sweeping range of emotions for all of them. And it's really compelling to watch it come to life. Okay, my computer fizzed out there for a minute. We're back. Number 5, Terry King, not a favorite, but very noticeable. The clones had separate facilities, such as bars and barracks from the new recruits for the Empire. I thought that was really interesting, too. We saw a little bit of that in the Clone Wars itself. But I think it's cool that they're showcasing it here and making this nice connective tissue. It just adds to the realism of the entire thing. Jason's number 5, Z. McDermott. Is Palpatine so much malice in that voice? That is for sure. And next, number 5, starting off strong with sniping. Yeah, that was pretty intense, wasn't it, Henrik? That was really intense, and it gives you this feeling of dread, too. Mary's number 5. Bail Organa helping Senator Chuchi to give the clones representation in the Senate, which is absolutely fabulous. I'm going to talk about that really, really soon. But again, well, I'll save my comments, but Mary, I'm glad you brought that up. And it was neat to see Senator Chuchi back. I had to refresh my memory on who she was. She's all the way back from season 1 of the Clone Wars. But again, those connective tissues are so good. Daniel's 5 is Organa's testing and perhaps recruiting Chuchi. I think so. I would hope that Chuchi will be a key part of the rebellion going forward. I guess we'll find out pretty soon, won't we? All right, let's jump into number 4. Number 4 is the Marauder landing. This is just a simple moment in the second episode, Truth and Consequences, where the Marauder is going down this shaft. But the animation and the sort of the majesty of this sequence, we've seen starships land countless times in Star Wars. But seeing this just again reminds me what a beautiful work of art Star Wars The Bad Batch is. The animation continues to shine, continues to be gorgeous. And when I watched the Marauder landing in the beginning of that episode, I thought, I'd like an image of that. I'd like a frame picture of that in the studio here. It's really nice. Number 4 for Terry. Senator Chuchi's persistence for clone rights and exposure of Admiral Rampart's role in the destruction of Kamino deeply resembles Senator Amidala's fighting spirit for oppressed people and justice. Well said, Terry. Very well said. There's a lot of inspiration in everything that's there. Greg's number 4, Echo's departure from the Batch to join Rex. It's been a good build-up over the season to get to this point. Indeed, it has. Indeed, it has. And it's been fun to get him. He's just a great character. Julie is here. Julie, I believe this is your first time on CWK Live. Welcome. Great to see you. She says, is this the first time? I'm sure it's not. There's been a clear transition explanation from clones to stormtroopers. This is the honestly most straightforward one that we've ever seen, where they basically announce it to the galaxy. You're going to see a lot of examples of this a little bit. In season 1, there was a great sequence where they were in this factory where you first see stormtroopers for the first time, but there's never been a clear explanation of why they're going to show up or what they actually mean. So, Julie, this was really kind of a landmark episode for spelling it out for us and for the galaxy. Hints, yes, but never quite to this degree. That there was a stormtrooper initiative and it was like a government, a Senate related thing, sort of. It's just Palpatine doing his Palpatine, as you know. Mary's 4. The clone assassin saying he was a believer right before committing suicide. So many questions. Yeah, and that's something that they borrowed, or not borrowed, but that we saw in The Mandalorian, in season 2 of The Mandalorian as well. That gruesome thing. Jason's 4 is more and more clones questioning Order 66 and the destruction of Kamino. And as we said on Coffee with Kenobi last week, it just makes you think with Mary and Chaz. Again, great job, Chaz. It was his first ever podcast, and he did a wonderful job. And of course, Mary always brings her A game. Hendrix number 4 is Omega speaking to Haley Bertoni. I think it's Haley Bertoni. That was cool. Another new character that we got to meet. Daniel's number 4, the whole Imperial boarding mission. Great action, intense, nail biting. It was a great scene. A great action sequence. Blake is here. Hello, Blake. What's up, man? He says, I'm late. What's up, friends? Great to see you, Blake. Number 5 for Craig. Craig is here. Great to see you, my friend. Craig's number 5 is Sheev himself. Yes, Sheev Palpatine. I'm sure we will talk about Sheev quite a bit more. All right, let's see. Mary says, thanks. Chaz says, thank you as well. My pleasure. Hey, I only speak the truth, friends. So it was great to have you both. Let's go ahead and jump into number 3. Number 3, I put suspense. Every time Senator Chuchi is going to meet someone, before we see Bail Organa, before we see Rex, there are these wonderful tense moments where you keep thinking, who's going to show up? Is it going to be Ahsoka? Is it going to be Rex? Who's going to show up? And just creates this great suspense. Combine that with the sniper, and I thought you had all the makings of a really great example of strong storytelling. That was so much fun to see. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Mary says, Sheev, baby. That's right. He is certainly someone to behold. Terry's 3 is Omega's last moments with Echo. The missions and experiences continue to force her to mature, but she always does so with a child's heart. I don't think we've seen the last of Echo. I hope not. Because Echo is one of my favorite members of the Bad Batch, but it was a really nice, touching moment. Number 3 for Greg is seeing Senator Palmo from Rogue One, also voiced by the same actor, Sharon Duncan Brewster. I was going to bring that up. I'm glad that you did. It is in the Rogue One visual dictionary, and it's also on StarWars.com in their episode guide. And it was cool, again, to see that they're so good at connecting all these worlds and different mediums of Star Wars. Daniel's 3 is the mysterious reveal of Captain Rex. Who else thought it might be a Jedi? I did. And that was no accident. The way they had his cloak on and how it kind of came down around his knees. It sort of looked like that's what they want us to think. It was really cool. Jason's 3 is Omega's emotions and maturity, especially her anger at the injustice against the Kaminoans and clones and her emotional parting with Echo. Henrik's number 3 is CT0409. Mason wrote that down, Henrik, because he wanted to get the exact clone ID number. He loves that stuff, and it is fun to get that too. Might be good trivia someday. Mary's 3, Omega's growth and the experiences she is having. Did I say Mary's growth? I hope I didn't. Sorry. Omega's growth and the experiences she is having, seeing Coruscant, the Senate chambers, and witnessing the destruction of Kamino again. Then being there as Palpatine comes up into that chamber, she looked terrified at that point. What a great animated sequence that was. It was just marvelous. Number 3, the cantina, all the clones hanging in it. I always add cantinas to my list. The fact that the clones all seem to hang in one is just like me and my friends in real life at one specific sports bar. Well, that's cool. I love that. Does that mean you're going to invite us to it when we come to board the Halcyon? Is that what you're trying to say, Blake? That would be cool. We probably will have a meetup the night before, by the way, but I'm sure as we get closer, we'll figure that out. Let's go ahead and jump into number 2. Don't mind me. I'm just jumping all over the place. Julie wants to know any mention of Omega being in a live action series. Julie, I have not heard anything, and I avoid speculation and rumors like the plague. If there was a vaccination for it, I would get it. I do not like that. So, because I end up being disappointed if it doesn't happen. So, I am not sure. That would sure be wonderful, though. Brian says, Sharon Duncan Brewster's voice always reminds me of our EastEnders character, a UK soap similar to our Days of Our Lives. Well, that's cool. I would not have made that connection. Blake says, everyone's invited to Gators in Melbourne. Boy, what a Florida-sounding bar that is, Gators. All right, number two. Number two for me is the opening politics. So, look, Phantom Menace, I know it's very politic-heavy. Some of the prequels are. I've never really been pro or con either way. I mean, I appreciate what it does for the story. It's fine. I don't need a lot of it, but it's cool. In these episodes, I found it fascinating. It really added to the suspense. It kind of reminded me of an episode of The West Wing and how it was delivered and plotted out. I thought that was really fantastic. So I love the opening politics here. In the first episode especially, I just thought it was really well done and really atmospheric. Really atmospheric. All right, let's see. Mary's number two. Rex talking about more and more of the clones. Waking up to what is happening in the galaxy. He's such a tremendous leader. I love Rex. He's just the best. Number two for Terry is the Emperor's speech, revealing Senator Chuchi and the Bad Batch's roles were inadvertently twisted to move the Emperor's plan forward. He's the master manipulator. We know that. Greg's two is love seeing Rex back working with the Batch. He's a good influence on them for transitioning away from just working for hire. Yes, he is. And Josh is here. Hello, Josh. Good to see you, pal. He says speculation is a path to the dark side. Ooh. For some people love it. And I love when people love it. It's like kryptonite for me. Daniel's 2, Palpatine. Yikes. That was such a visceral surprise to see him rise in the chamber and then all of his twisting of information for pure manipulation. And, again, he's the maestro of that, isn't he? Jason's 2 is Senator Chuchi advocating for clone rights, say that 5 times fast, and representation. Curious how speaking up for what's right has become an act that causes a stir, unlike inaction, apathy, or ignorance. Beautiful line. And Henrik's number 2 is Wrecker trucking clone troopers to get off the Venator's bridge. That was pretty sweet as well. Number 2 for Blake, the looming clone uprising I hope we get to see. I know we don't speculate, but the tension between the clones and the Empire's new way of doing things is incredibly intriguing. Yes, it is. Brian's next one, the politics in Star Wars animation has added much credibility to the often criticized politics of the films. And you just said that better than I was trying to a few moments ago. That's exactly what it has done. And it's really interesting. I really like how it adds to the story. As always, if it adds to the service of the story, then it's the best. It's what I like to see. And I know you do too. Number 1, for me, Palpatine's entrance. Look, him there, Ian McDiarmid, you recognize the voice right away. But the way he rises out of the ground, like rises from hell and but slowly grows to the top and delivers his ominous growl where he sounds like he's truly caring and compassionate, but we know that is absolutely not the case. Just a great scene. I was joking at school when we talked about this that it reminded me of like a WWE entrance, and it was just really super cool. Just wonderful Star Wars. Number 1 for Greg is the Emperor's appearance in the Senate chamber, also finding out that, of course, he's pulling all the strings. That's right. To no one's surprise, that's what he does. Number 1 for Jason. Well, actually, I'm going to have Henrik's go first. Henrik's is Rex, 2 exclamation points. No complaints there. That's a good one. Jason's number 1 is Echo joining Rex to help the clones defect from the Empire. So sad to see him leave the Bad Batch, but it's also a necessary part of his journey. Yeah, I was definitely torn, and I know Omega was, but I hope we get to see him again because again, he's one of my favorites. Number 1 for Terry is Rex's knowledge of safe routes to avoid Imperial entanglement makes me suspect he's actively involved in much more than we realize. I sincerely hope that there's a future series focusing on his adventures. Well, that would be great. That would be great. Number 1 for Mary, the last scene. The second episode with Echo leaving the group and joining Rex. Hunter offering their help to Rex. Echo telling Omega to keep an eye on the squad. And then the loneliness of Omega on the Marauder. Very beautiful pathos through that whole thing. Well said, Mary. Josh is one as the animated series treats young viewers with respect, tackling topics such as genocide, civil rights, veterans' rights, and political intrigue. That's right, Josh. Great point. It does. It doesn't insult. So good. It serves a greater story, and it talks to all of us in different ways, and I think that's a good point. Daniel is number one is Echo's surprising departure scene with Omega. Grown man tearing up equals me. I understand that. Julie says, I wonder if Palpatine's kin ever emerged so we can learn about Rey's parents. So they do. And what is it? Shadows of the Sith, the book by Adam Christopher, tells that entire story. Julie, I highly recommend that, and it's very much part of the Star Wars canon, so I definitely recommend that. Shadow of the Sith. Brian's number one. Palp's entrance was my number one too. WWE entrance made me laugh. I guess he's a little like John Cena. You can't see him much of the time. John Cena is a lot more friendly. Did I tell you all last week? I think I did. John Cena is following Coffee with Kenobi on Twitter. That surprised me. So that's pretty cool. Hi, John, if you're listening. We love you, buddy. Number one for Blake. Palpatine, even in animation, this post-Episode 3 Emperor is so powerful. For me, to see he still made public appearances in this time period and the way he uses the government to fulfill his goals is incredible. He is like hidden in plain sight, man. He is frightening. Mary agrees that it's a very good book, so Julia, I highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. It was certainly a wow for me as well, Mary. Well, I think I got everybody's number ones. If not, of course, you're more than welcome to post it here. And then a little bit after the show is not live anymore, of course, you can watch it on YouTube and here on our Coffee with Kenobi Facebook page. But the audio will go up on the Coffee with Kenobi podcast feed. So, next week, we're going to look at the next episode. It is just one episode. It is the Bad Batches episode, The Crossing. So you've got that to look forward to. And I look forward to breaking down my top 5 list with all of you. In the meantime, as we're getting excited for that and we're going to make our top 5 for next week, let's jump into Ask Dan Z. All right. This week on Pour Over, I don't have a clip for you, unfortunately, but we talked about, it was part one of our look at James Gunn's announcement of the upcoming DC universe in film, animation, and television. It was great fun to talk about this week. We pretty much talk about the stuff for TV, and next week we're going to jump into the film stuff. So be sure to check that out. We have a great time on CWK Pour Over, and hopefully it's something that you all enjoy as well. As you know or may not know, Coffee with Kenobi's Pour Over is if you are a member of the CWK Alliance, which is our Coffee with Kenobi Patreon page. When you are a member of the CWK Alliance, you give back to me and Coffee with Kenobi, and you get an exclusive weekly podcast every single week. There's the logo for that. So you can go to the Coffee with Kenobi Patreon page at coffeewithkenobi.com/CWK Alliance, or just go to Patreon and type in Coffee with Kenobi. You will see me there. 10% of your monthly contributions goes directly to the St. Jude Children's Hospital. And again, you get exclusive audio and video depending on how you want to contribute every month. So thank you so much to all of you. I literally, and I mean literally, not figuratively, I literally cannot do this show without your help. Jason wants to know, Henrik would like to know how excited was Mace when the Chiefs won. We were so excited. As you all know, I'm a Bears fan, so smiling and football doesn't always go together, although I am optimistic about Justin Fields. But it's a terrific game. Very, very exciting. Both quarterbacks were played out of this world. So it was great. Thank you for asking. Mason was very happy. What's my favorite Super Bowl moment? Movie ad. Personally, I can't wait for the Super Mario Brothers movie. So that was great. Obviously, Indiana Jones it's indie. That's another stratosphere. I expected to love that, and I did. But I love the Flash trailer, which is what Greg wants to know. How do I feel about the Flash trailer? That blew my mind. And then seeing Michael Keaton as Batman. That movie, I mentioned this before over the years on the show, but the only thing that came even close to me for pre-movie hype for any kind of production was the original 1989 Batman with Michael Keaton. So seeing that was really special. Terry says the second night on the Halcyon is CWK Live Night. Any special plans where you need to postpone that week? Oh, I don't know. That's great. I haven't even thought that far ahead, but you heard it here first, Terry. We're going to do a live show there. We've got to do a live show on the Halcyon, and I hope that you will join me, my friend. That would be great. Jason, I'm a Bears fan. Smiling and football don't always go together. What a great quote. Yeah, sadly, that is accurate. I mean, let's see. In my lifetime, the first season I ever watched of the NFL was 1985-86 season when the Bears, the greatest defense of all time, won the Super Bowl against the Patriots 46-10. I only saw him play one other time in the Super Bowl. That was 41, and where Peyton Manning beat them. So that was crazy. But I love the NFL. I love football. It's a ton of fun. It's also so much fun. Mary's excited for CWK Live in the Halcyon. I am too. It'll be great. Playing some Bach and going through the front of the ship. There's just so much to do. So much to do. Daniel says, yes, live, so I can be there with you folks. Well, the only thing that would be better, Daniel, is if you could join us in person, but I know that is not doable at this time. But this won't be the last trip we ever do as a trip, for sure. Live events are there for the Mando episode. Well, every Tuesday night, and again, I hope you'll join us again, every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, you can find me and all of our friends here on CWK Live. Literally every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock, we will review and give top fives for the latest episodes. For March, it's going to be tricky because I'm going to have Mando and Bad Batch, but we'll make it work. We will make it work. Jason, have a great week. Thank you for joining us. Julie, thanks again for joining us. Hope you'll return. Blake, sorry I was late, but I had fun with you all. Hope I get to hang out with the group coming down to my state of Florida soon. Blake, that'd be great, my friend. That would be so great. Greg, have a great week. We will see you all next time. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful, happy, and safe Valentine's Day. Whether you're with your someone special or waiting to meet that someone special, it'll work out for you. Just be true to yourself and good things will happen. Mary says, welcome, Julie. Hope you join us again next week. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Thank you so much, Mary, as always. Terry, may the force be with you. Brian says, great show. Thanks, Dan. See you in London soon. Looking forward to it. Daniel, may the force be with you. Thank you so much, everybody. Be well, be safe, and have a great night. This is the live podcast you're looking for.
This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company or Lucasfilm Limited. It is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars, all names, sounds, and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Disney and their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Coffee With Kenobi unless otherwise indicated.
This is the podcast you're looking for.
There's no one here. Move along.